This video is on subtracting whole numbers. When we say subtract, we just mean to take away. So subtract means take away. So 8 subtract 5 means I have 8 things and I'm going to take away 5 of them and see what I have left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 3 left. So 8 subtract 5 equals 3. When we're subtracting, we need to line up our digits just like we did in adding, and then work right to left, borrowing when necessary. So borrowing is when we don't have enough to subtract, we borrow from the digit in front, and when we borrow 10. We're borrowing 1 from the place value, which gives us 10 in the next place. Just like when we were adding and we didn't carry just a 1, we carried a 1 to the place, but it wasn't worth 1, it was worth 10 because it was a 10. So what I mean by that is if I had 20 minus 9, I don't have enough to take 9 away from the 0, so I need to borrow from the 2, and so the 2 will become a 1, but I'm borrowing 10 from that. So my 0 isn't a 0 anymore, it now becomes a 10. I've added 10 to it, and now I have enough to take 9 away from that 10. I have a 1, and then I don't have anything to subtract from this, so it's just 11. So let's try it with some larger numbers. So we have, example 1, we have 7,492, and we're going to subtract, lining up our digits, starting in the ones place, 3,875. Okay, so now 2 minus 5, or 2 take away 5. I don't have enough to take 5 from 2, so I'm going to have to borrow. So I'm going to borrow 1 from the 9, and my 9 will become an 8. My 2, because I'm borrowing, remember it's worth 10, so it's 10 plus what I already had there, 2. So 10 plus 2 gives me 12. So my 2 becomes a 12. And now I have 12 minus 5, and that's enough. So 12 minus 5 is 7. And then 8 minus 7 is a 1. 4 minus 8, again I don't have enough, so I'll have to borrow. So my 7 becomes a 6, and my 4, when I add 10 to that, becomes a 14. And now 14 minus 8 is 6, and then 6 minus 3 is 3. So we get 3,617. Now I would like you to pause the video and do practice number 1 on your own. Okay, let's see how you did. So 8,192 minus 2,746, making sure I've aligned my digits. 2 minus 6, not enough, so I gotta borrow. 8, 2 becomes a 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. 8 minus 4 is 4. 1 minus 7, not enough, need to borrow again. So 8 becomes a 7. 1 becomes an 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. 7 minus 2 is 5. So we should have gotten 5,446. Let's look at example number 2. Example number 2, as you'll notice, has a bunch of zeros in it. So let's see what happens when we have zeros. So we have 40,401 minus 7,093. Okay, so 1 minus 3, need to borrow. When I look to the digit next to it, there's nothing there, so I can't borrow from it. So I'm going to have to borrow from the digit in front of that one. So I need to borrow from the 4, which becomes 3. When I give that 1, or the 10, to the 0, I now have 10 there, and now I can borrow from that 0, because now it's a 10. So when I borrow from 10, I have a 9, and add that 10 to the 1 to give me 11. So now I have 11 minus 3 is 8. 9 minus 9 is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. 0 minus 7. Again, I don't have enough, so I'll borrow. My 4 will become a 3. My 0 becomes a 10. And now I have 10 minus 7 is 3. Nothing to subtract from that 3, so I just bring it down. So 33,308. Okay, pause again and do practice 2 on your own. Okay, let's see how you did. 30,680 minus 19,704. 0, I can't take 4 from 0, so I have to borrow. That becomes a 7. My 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 7 minus 0 is 7. 6 minus 7, not enough, so I have to borrow. Oh, I have a 0, so I can't borrow from the 0. Borrow from the 3. 0 became a 10, and now I can borrow from it, and I get 9. And my 6 becomes a 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you should have gotten 10,976. Our next examples are word problems or story problems. So just like when we were adding, we will need to pick out the important information before we can start this problem. The problem says that you go to Walmart to buy groceries that total $84 and pay with a $100 bill. How much change do you get, or how much money do we get back? Well, first we need to decide how we would set this problem up. So if I go and I buy groceries that cost $84 and I pay with $100, that means I'm going to take the $100 and I'm going to subtract from it or take away the amount I spent on my groceries. And once I do that, the answer I get will be my change or the money I get back. So let's see what I get when I do this. Well, I can't take 4 from 0, so I will need to borrow. Well, I have a 0 there, so I can't borrow from it, so I'll have to go over one more spot and borrow. So I'll borrow from this 1. That 1 will become a 0. My first 0 became a 10 so that I can borrow from it, and now it's a 9. And then this one, when I add 10 to it, becomes a 10. So now I have 10 minus 4 is 6, and 9 minus 8 is 1, and that's just a 0. So the change I will get back $16 in change. Please pause the video and try practice 3 on your own. Okay, let's see how we did. So it says you go to Best Buy and purchase a new TV for $794. You pay with a $1,000 bill. How much change do you receive? So again, we'll take the amount we paid with and subtract the amount it cost us. We're going to have to borrow, and I have to borrow all the way back to this 1, so that 1 will become a 0. That one will become a 10, so I can borrow from it, making it a 9. That one will become a 10, borrow from it, making it a 9, making my last digit a 10. So now I have 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 9 is 0, and 9 minus 7 is 2. So you would have gotten back $206 in change. Now let's look at example number 4. Example number 4 says, if your great-grandmother was 106 years old when she died in 1975, what year was she born in? Okay, so our important information is how old she was and when she died. We also need to think about how would we figure this out. So we have when you're born plus your age gives you the year you die. So born plus age gives year of death. So let's see what pieces we know. Well, we know our age, so we can write that in. And we know when she died, and so she died in 1975. We can write that in. And we need to figure out how old or what year she was born in. So to figure that out, if we take the year you died and subtract your age, we will get the year you were born in. So let's do that. So that means we'll have 1975 minus 106. That will give me the year that your great-grandmother was born. So I don't have enough, so I will borrow, and that will make a 6. Carrying makes that a 15, and 15 minus 6 is 9. 6 minus 0 is 6. 9 minus 1 is 18, and that. So your great-grandmother was born in 1869. Okay, I would like you to try practice number 4, so please pause the video. Okay, so if we do the same thing, that if we do the year they died minus how old they were, that will tell us their age, or the year they were born. So I have to borrow again. That would give me 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. 0 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 1 is 8. 1. So your great-grandfather in this question would have been born in 1809. That's the end of your examples. If you would like more practice, see the additional practice video for subtracting whole numbers, part 2 of 2.